In this video, I cover the basics of white and red lights on spaces to include the 3-position switch that is required for this type of lights. And then I also show you, in case that you have fuses powering the circuit, how to find the actual fuse box for it.
Before we continue, remember, if you find the material in this video too technical, please watch earlier videos where I cover basic electrical knowledge. Keep in mind that the first 28 videos are best understood if you follow their sequential order. Now, back to our video. So, there is plenty of lights throughout the ship, and there are what is called single fixtures, double fixtures, and 3 fixtures. Here we got a 3-fixture light because it has 3 lights. Now let's take a look at this 2 light fixture that we got over here. So we got 2 lights over there, obviously 2 starters, and let's start talking about these cables over here. All lights, 3 fixtures and 2 fixtures, they got white, red, and black. White is always the common, and in this case, well, since it's 2 lights, that means that when I energize white to black, one light will come on, and when I do white to red, the other light will come on. If I'm energizing these 2 lights to a same common source of power, I will have these to one side, and these 2 will be together with the incoming line of power. So in that way, both lights can come on. If I want one of these lights to be a red light for a darkened ship situation, the one that is connected to the red light, that's the one that gets the red sleeve. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Here, I energize my white and my red cable, and since this light came on, that's where I went ahead and put on the sleeve. If you need to know the NSM for the sleeve, there is that one. Fixtures. The red cable always powers the middle light, and the black cable powers the lights on the side. So that's why whenever you deal with 3 light fixtures, the center light would be red light. Alright, so over here, to better explain how a light switch works, a 3-position light switch. And what I mean by 3-position is that this light switch, well, right now it's in off, but it can either go forward to connect these 2, bridge these 2 places, or it can go back and it can bridge the center to these back places. Now, the way how I did it right now, it will cause to put a potential into here, the green cable, which it goes and it becomes the common, which means that this A potential will be both here and over here because they are tied at the J box. Now, on the other side, B potential comes over here and it jumps into what is I color as the purple cable, and now will only energize the bottom light and the top light. Those are the only lights that will come on. Typically, those are our white lights, so therefore, this is our white position. White light position. Now, this one over here goes in and only energizes this bottom light. The common is already energized, so therefore, this light will come on. In the event that somebody decides to go to red, now, what is going to happen is that on top or on the bottom, B potential is still, because of the short, nothing had changed. So we still have A potential over here, but on the top one, this new position, what is done is take the power from the center to this point, which is now is the red cable. The red cable brings power to the red lights, or the lights that had a red sleeve, and therefore this light turns on and this light turns on. All light fixtures, they got 3 cables inside of it, 1 red, 1 black, and 1 white. I did it green because I don't really have a white marker, and even if I did, it won't show. So if you want something that doesn't have no red lights, you will have to tie the white take that back. You have to tie the red and the black together into a line, and you could wire it into a switch like this to where so it is just an on and off to turn the lights on or not. Or you could make it part of a system where they got a mixture of some fixtures with red lights and some fixtures with no red light, and what you would do is you simply tie it somewhere like this so that when it switches in the white position, all of the white lights come on to include the new fixture.
Here is an example of red lights. Not every single light fixture will be a red light. Only certain ones. So the ones that don't, that are just meant to be whites, will only get 2 wires of power, and these ones will get 3 wires of power, where red cable will be for the red light.
This is a typical lighting setup for a space, and so these represents lighting fixtures. This is a single, this is a double, this is a 3, and I'm trying to illustrate a combination of all of them. All of them are interconnected by these wires through junction boxes. Now, when power comes in from the source, 110 volts, which is what you get for lighting, when the switch is closed, if you see, power goes always to one main junction box, and then from that main junction box, power splits, ramifies, whatnot, and it goes to other junction boxes, which eventually they energize light fixtures. So it's very good to know this, because what happens, let's consider a scenario which it happens from time to time. What happens if this wire over here, I'm just gonna, there, this junction connection over here disconnects. What you will have as an effect is that power, you will lose one leg of power to this light, and that light. Because of that, now these whole 3 lights will go out. So if you walk into a space and you see a section of lights out, then try to just look up and see if they got a common junction box. As soon as you identify the common junction box, then you're gonna have to only troubleshoot at that junction box, because that's probably where your problem is at. Now, I just only use a double pole, single throw switch, but setups where they got red lights, they will be more complicated, because you gotta account for that extra wire for the red lighting. But the idea is the same as far as how things are connected. And what I mean by that is that, so let's say that it was a 3-position switch, so that this would be red power. Well, there would be a third wire that would travel in to energize, let's say that this was going to be a red light, so eventually to deliver the third conductor out there, so that the red light could come in whenever you were to throw the switch in the red position. Obviously for that, we will have to use, like I said, a 3-position light switch. As you can see, most of the lights in this space are on, but there is one light fixture that has all 3 lights out. That's very unusual. The most likely scenario is that there is a loose connection within the power cable that brings power to that light, and that junction box, it looks like the perfect suspect, especially when, if you see, there is another light that it has 100% power and all the lights are coming on. So to troubleshoot this problem, I'm just going to open the junction box and look for the loose connection, so that I can restore power to that fixture. And this is how a junction box looks like in the inside. And one of these cables bring power, and the other ones they just distribute it, but one of them just continues bringing power to the next junction box. Now, sometimes you got multiple circuits, so that, let's say, another cable will bring power tied to go feed, let's say, a receptacle. When they get too crowded, sometimes technicians have a hard time putting cables, together and mashing them up over there. And due to vibration of the ship and all those conditions, one of those cables backs out, and that's how you get loose connections and you lose a leg of power. When you call into a space where there's, well, lights are out because there is a loss of power to the space lighting system, you just got to find the light switch. And typically the light switch, they have these label tags, which if you can see, it has a circuit, and with this circuit we will be able to find the breaker of fuses. In this case, is definitely a fuse, set of fuses number 1. Let me explain how this works. Now in this scenario, this is the circuit that we have, and I told you right from the get-go that we were dealing with the fuse because, well, it has a number 1 in front of the letter. If it would have been just like this, I would have said, oh, it is a breaker, but it was a 1 in front of it. It's very important that it's not a 1 in the parentheses. If you have a 1 in the parentheses really doesn't mean nothing concerning identifying fuses and power panels. So now the problem is I need to find out where the fuse is at, because I suspect that the set of fuses number 1 is blown. So here I got the lighting system, the light switch, and then this here is what I found the label plate. This is telling me that there is a fuse box which I don't know where it's at, and I need to replace set of fuses number 1. This set of fuses over here. Now, what I got is this piece of information over here, which is telling me that there is a power panel that is called 278.1. So this power panel over here is going to be 278.1 because all circuits are labeled after the breaker that gives them power. So power panel 278.1 has multiple breakers, and one of them happens to be breaker Bravo. This is representing that breaker, and this number over here, it represents the name of the power panel that it belongs to. So if I walk at this power panel, which just got to go to that second deck on frame 78, and 1, since it is an odd number, I know it's going to be in the starboard side. But if it was even, then I would have been on a port side, and I'm talking about that last number. So when I went to that, when I go to that space, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the breaker, and the breaker is going to have a little label plate that is going to tell me what equipment it will affect. And then when I go over there, this is going to give me the address and the name of this distribution box. Why do I say this distribution box? Because, well, obviously breaker Bravo is going to energize a distribution box, and I know that because, like I told you before, that is a 1 over there, and that represents set of fuses 1. This is set of fuses 1, this is set of fuses 2, this is set of fuses 3, this is set of fuses 4, and so on and so forth. Once I get the number that is over here, then I will be able to find the distribution box. And then I just simply focus on these fuses so that I can restore power to these lights over here. So to summarize things, every time that you're dealing with a circuit that has fuses on it, you gotta go find the actual power panel that contains the breaker, whether it be K or A or E or whatnot, and then when you find the breaker will tell you the address of the particular distribution box that alpha breaker provides or that delta breaker provides, and so on and so forth. As I open the panel, well, there are multiple breakers, but the one that I'm interested in is in breaker Bravo. And breaker Bravo, it tells me that it powers a distribution box, which this distribution box is called 179.5, which also will happen to be located in the main deck around frame 79, and so it is an odd number. It will be in the starboard side line of the ship, or side of the ship. Since I'm looking for distribution box 179.5, this is the closest space that I found, and when I look into it, surely enough, the lighting distribution box 179.5 is located here. So I'm looking for set of fuses number 1 because, well, at the end I'm looking for B1, and that's B1 right there. So when I open, it's gonna be this first set of fuses. It would be the first set of fuses that I'll have to check to find out which is the faulty one, so we can fix the light problem or the power problem in that space so lights can come back on.